Once again, the internet streets are talking. And the question everybody is asking is Jamaica safe for Black Americans? Travel advisories, news stories, crime stats, are they trading one danger for another? I've been here 15 years. Let me give you the honest answer. Let's talk about it. Peace. My name is Jamaica Law. My artist name is P Funk City G. I'd like to welcome you to Rebel Life, and this is the naked truth. These are my thoughts from my point of view. What is it safe really means? From my perspective, it's safe. It's safe for me and my family. My sister lived here. It was safe for her. And so the question arises, is it safe outside of a gated community or outside of the resort? And that's why I challenge people to leave the resort and see for yourself. I can only speak for my 15 years of experience. Yes, I've had, bad vibes from people. As the Minister Farrakhan has said, Black American is the most hated people in the world. And the black man in America is the most singularly hated group of people in the world. So with that said, wherever a black man goes, he's going to be hated. Whether you go to Colombia, Africa, Japan, China. And that's how they want it. They don't want the black American who has access to all of America's secrets, all of America's education, to go out seeking partnerships and uniting through the world. We see what happened to Malcolm X. He had a problem with that. Once he went to Africa and made partnerships and commitments and came back, he didn't live too long. The greatest fear of the Caucasian in America is that the black man stands up as a free man on his 2 feet and seeks opportunities outside of the jurisdiction of the European Western world. We see what's going on in Africa with Abraham Traore and Burkina Faso and the Sahel region, Mali, Niger. They have kicked the West out of their countries, not needing any help from them. They have partnerships with Russia. We know Russia has never been a threat to Africa. China has never been a threat to Africa. They don't come with guns and Bibles like the Europeans do. They want to control your mind. They come with the Bible and the gun, and they want you to change your culture and become like their culture so that they can control your very existence. Russia and China doesn't do that. And the key to the friendship with Russia, which I respect, is they have a European mind. So you use a European mind to understand the Europeans' way of thinking to do war, to win a war against them. We as black people in America are friendly and accepting of every nation in the world. Black people are friends with every nation in the world, even though they're not friends with us. We see black people going over to Italy and being ill-treated. You see black people going over to Spain and being ill-treated. Going over to Britain and being ill-treated. Going to the Spanish countries and being ill-treated. And that's not to say that everyone in those countries that I named are evil or don't like black people. But we know that in those countries there's someone or a group of people that do not like black people. Specifically black Americans. So the question goes back to, is that what occurs in Jamaica? Yes, there's black people here that don't like black Americans. There's evidence in my comments. One person from Jamaica said, "I hate Black Americans, no matter what you say." So no matter what you say, what you do, the difference is that in Europe, in America, and in other countries, they're going to want to show you and prove to you that they don't like you and that you're beneath them. Here in Jamaica, they might just give you a dirty look and don't want to deal with you. That's it. They're not going to say anything loud, get loud with you and confront you. Have I had any issues with people in Jamaica? Certainly. I have. Like I said, some people can't stand Black Americans. But I wouldn't say that they were major issues. They didn't become physical. My safety wasn't, wasn't a concern. I never felt unsafe. In fact, I just stood my ground, and didn't care. But I know that, like, living in America and going to different places, moving to different places and living in different neighborhoods, that hatred exists also. The East hates the West. The California, LA hate New Yorkers. New Yorkers hate LA. Atlanta hates cats from North. And so it's a lot easier to deal with people in Jamaica that don't like Black Americans than coming from Brooklyn, going to Brooklyn from America. From Jersey. People were trying to kill me once I moved to Brooklyn. Bronx, same thing. When I moved to the Bronx, I got a lot of hate. No, not like Brooklyn, but black. A lot of Black people. They didn't want to mess with me, roll their eyes. So wherever you go, there's gonna be hate. But I got a lot of love in Brooklyn too. Got a lot of love. That Brooklyn love, there's no love like Brooklyn love. I got a lot of love in the Bronx. That's my second home. I love the Bronx. Well, I should say Jamaica now is my second home. I love Jamaica. I love the Jamaican people. And so we know as Black people in America, wherever you go, there's going to be hate. But the hate here is more quiet than anywhere else that I've been. Why did I choose Jamaica? I chose Jamaica because I've been to different places, and like Bermuda, Canada, and different countries. But like Bermuda was a little too bougie for me. It's a beautiful country. It's a very beautiful country. But I've told people before is think about Jamaica is, like Bermuda. Bermuda is like a paradise for the American mind state. Riding on the water with speed jets, beautiful oceans, and the average income in Bermuda is about $100,000. So those people in Bermuda are doing way better than a lot of people in the American Black community. The thing that attracted me to Jamaica is, and I've often said that Americans don't move to Jamaica to live like a local Jamaican person. Most people come to live like a Rasta, because the people who come to Jamaica want to live a more natural life, and that's what you have here. In Jamaica, you can grow your own food, you can create a garden, you can walk barefoot on the earth, and anybody who's into nature understands the power of that, what we get from it, being able to pick up energy into our body and into our bloodstream that flows up to our mind and opens our pineal gland. We have the sun constantly, year round. And in Jamaica, we try to, be in the sun up until about 10 o'clock in the morning and in the evening, the sunset after 5, so that the sun is not so hot and so dangerous. So that's what I love about Jamaica. I love being able to go to the river and get fresh water. Me and my son, we go fill up our jugs about every 2 months. We have enough water to last us, so we cook with that water and we drink that water. If you go to the supermarket, you go get your water at Pathmark and Whole Foods. Looking at ingredients in the water, and it's not just water. It has a couple other ingredients in it. And we know that our Creator gave us everything that we need to get by without any manufacturing, any synthetics, any preservatives. That's what I love about Jamaica. I love the people here. Even if they're not rostered, they have a tradition that is unbroken from the traditions of Africa. It's a completely different life than America. So if you want to live like an American, Jamaica is not the place for you. But if you want to live a long life and have access to sea moss, moringa, and Spanish needle, and all of them things that I just mentioned are in eyesight of me right now. That's why I love Jamaica. I was telling somebody recently, my mother retired from a hospital bed. And I always say that anybody can make it in America. We see that people coming from all over the country, all over the globe to come to America. But they work like a slave. So in America, you have to work yourself till you die. And that's not necessary in Jamaica. People who make way less money than Americans have way better lives because they own their own houses, they own their own land. Government can't come take it from them. Plus, they don't have the obstacles of racism. I don't care what nobody says. Racism is a noose on the black man's neck. And to my brothers and sisters out there, I mean, the sisters were aggressive in my comments on my last video. They're talking about, black Americans are leaving America. We not going nowhere. And it was only for the women. Like, there was a brother that made a comment. It's like, yeah, the sister got on there and said, ain't no we, da da da. It's sad over there because there's a division between the black man in America and the black woman in America. And oftentimes, if she's a single woman and she's not, married, and she married young, if she's married young, she probably, has a good head on her shoulders, understands the importance of a man. But, a lot of women in America don't have any respect for the black man because the black woman is higher on the totem pole than the black man. The black man in America is the number one enemy to the Caucasian who rules America. The Donald Trump mentality, the Joe Biden mentality, the red and blue are the same people looking to rule. They answer to the same masters. Donald Trump master is the same master as Biden. But I'm not here to get into politics. I don't talk politics and religion. And to reiterate that my point of view has been greatly influenced by the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I don't consider myself a registered Muslim of the Nation of Islam. I believe that the Nation of Islam right now, under the leadership of Mr. Farrakhan, is doing great things, but it's different than the Islam that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught. And that's what I study and practice. Now, let's talk about crime in Jamaica. Crime anywhere is usually perpetrated by the people and the nationality of the people in the surrounding area. So if you live in a white, so if you're a white person, you're more susceptible to crime from another white person. If you live in a black neighborhood, you're more susceptible to experiencing crime with a black person. Same thing in the Latino community. Same thing in the Asian community or the Middle Eastern communities. Most crimes are perpetrated by the people that we know. Same in Jamaica. Jamaica, crime is usually done by a Jamaican person to another Jamaican person in Jamaica. In the black community, black people do more crime to black people than anyone else. In the white community, white people do more crime than white people. But these are talking points that racists have highlighting black on black crime. Like, we are killing our people and no one else is committing crimes and killing their own people. And that brings me to my next point. It's important to choose your friends wisely whenever traveling. Even, living in America. You have to choose your friends wisely, because people do commit crimes against people that they know most times. I've had, a couple of problems in Jamaica, but all of those problems came from people that I knew. It didn't come from strangers. So we want to be careful and mindful of who we allow in our midst. Because everything that glitters is not gold. Every smile does not represent a soft, kind heart. So we have to be careful who we smile at. And just focus on yourself. Focus on your happiness. I'm here. I don't rely on anyone to have my back. I have my back. The Creator has my back. So I stay humble, keep my head down, focus, and stay grateful. And I've been able to attract positive people around me. Yes, I deal with people who give me, I don't want to say give me. They give you dirty looks. The thing about, in one sentence, people here, if they don't like you, they might look at you, but they're not going to, like in the States, come over and make it known that they don't like you. In America, if somebody don't like you, they might call you a nigger. They might call you out your name. I've never done that, heard that here, or been assaulted here, or heard anything like that. The thing that I correct people on is sometimes they'll use the word Yankee as a derogatory term. They say Yankee, and I correct them. I say, I'm not a Yankee. I'm not a Yankee, because that's someone who's like an American, Caucasian as we see it, and they see it and they're trying to say that we're that, and so and in their mind it's okay for them to for the Caucasian to be that way, but it's not okay for someone who looks like them to be that way. So it's a whole mindset, And so I just stay away from people like that. But I would correct them. Don't, bro, I'm not a Yankee, bro. So if you're going to refer to me as a Yankee, don't say nothing to me. Leave it at that. But like I said, there's no issues as far as someone who doesn't like you, coming out their way to make it known that they don't like you, like in America. White people, the first racism I had was, crossing the highway and being called the N-word while a group of white kids are, driving by in a station wagon. So I've never ever had anything like that, or any hate on the level that I've dealt with hate, even by black people in America. I'm light skinned. There's a lot of people who don't like, in the black community, don't like black skinned men. They love light skinned women. They don't like light skinned men. Never, so I've been, called names, I've been dealing with racism in the black community more than in the white community. So I can understand that. But I never deal with that here. No hate here. I see it in people's eyes, but they don't say nothing to me. A lot of the misunderstandings comes from the travel agencies also. There's always travel advisories. Don't buy from the natives. Don't associate with the natives. Don't trust the natives. As I said before, they do not want us uniting with our people. And so as long as there's no unity, there's going to be 14 million Jamaican people in America, in Jamaica, 40 million black people in America. And as long as we're not united in making that 54 million people, and even within America, that 40 million is separated. Some are Republicans, some are Democratic, some are this, some are that, some are white collar, some blue collar. Some are high, society, bougie. Some are, ghetto. So there's always going to be, a divide and conquer. And so, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad always told us to try to want for your brother as you want for yourself. And people in Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Africa, they're your brother. They share the same blood, the same history as you. Another thing I want to get into too is that I had a discussion in the in the comments. The sister said something to the effect that she's from the Choctaw tribe. She not going nowhere, and one thing we got to realize as black people in America. Yeah, most of us, including myself, have Indian blood in us. My grandmother on my mother's side was a full-blooded Indian. But as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, that the Indians were exiled from Africa over 16,000 years ago, because we, as on the Indian bloodline, our Indian ancestors wanted to worship the planet. They didn't want to worship our Creator. They worshiped trees. They worshiped water. So they got exiled. That's how they ended up in India. And some of them left India and came to the Americas. Because you got to remember, in Africa, straight from Africa to India. So you got to remember that we've been sold a lie that we did not travel, we didn't build boats, and we were the first shipbuilders. We were, we didn't have to explore the planet because we built the planet. So we didn't have to figure out where was the rich part and where was the poor part. We already lived on the best part, which since the separation of the moon from the earth has been Africa. There was, as the story goes, the tribe of Shabazz. Most black people had straight hair. The Indians, even in India now, they're pitch black, especially in the South. It wasn't until the separating of the races that I'm not even going to get into that too deeply. I'll deal with that another time. But there was a separating of the races that occurred about 6,000 years ago. Our history goes beyond that. But most black people had straight hair. And in Shabazz, one of the God scientists and leaders of our people, blew up the earth because he thought that we were getting too soft and wanted to prepare us to live a jungle life. That's how we ended up in Africa. And that when he blew up a part of the planet to destroy the straight-haired black people, the earth separated and brought forth the moon that expanded from the planet Earth and stayed inside the orbit of the earth. So that's why the moon revolves around the earth, or is connected to the earth gravitational pull, because it's part of the earth. But I'll deal with that at another time. But my point is that the people in America who claim to be Indian come from India. That's why when the Europeans came, they saw that they were the same people. They started calling them India because they thought they had traveled all the way around the world and came to India. It was the same people. Black people with straight, long hair. We know everybody has, and growing up in elementary school, you always had the family, with, dark skin with straight hair. That's nothing new. Here in Jamaica, you see it all the time. Beautiful black women with long, straight hair. So I'm going to leave it there. I just want to leave one thought in your mind as a lesson that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He gave us a supreme wisdom to live by and study. And lesson number 6 in that supreme wisdom is, why does the devil call our people Africans? To make our people of North America believe that the people on that continent are the only people they have and are all savages. He bought a trading post in the jungle of that continent. The original people live on that continent, and they strayed away from civilization and are living a jungle life. The original people call this continent Asia, but the devils call it Africa to try to divide them. He wants us to think we are all different and we are all the same. So my brothers and sisters here in Jamaica are the same as me, and I'm the same as them. There's no difference. We just differ by culture. We differ by a boat stop. But we don't differ through intellect, by size, by strength. Just culture. And so that's why I chose Jamaica. Because I knew this. I knew the planet belongs to my people. So anywhere I go, I'm going to find a black man. I could go to China. There's black people in China. You knew that, right? But through that same separating of the races and color by color and all of that, that happened in the East and that happened in the West at the same time. Wherever you go on this planet, you're going to see a black person. Whether you're Jamaican, Haitian, Trinidadian, Barbadian, Nigerian, South African, Malian, Egyptian, Moroccan. Wherever you go, you're going to see black people. I'm going to leave it there, but just remember, Jamaica's a safe place. Love, peace, and happiness.
Funk City G.